Long ago, in a galaxy not so far away, there was a planet that today we call Mars. But back then, it was named Thalix. You see, I have a completely fan-made theory about the origin of mankind. While Earth was still only a volcanic piece of crap, there was quite a bit happening down at Thalix. Because you see here, this is where I believe the origin of the human came from. This species that now inhabits Mars is a species that I would like to call Hyneos. Hyneos were an intelligent species with quite the same anatomy as humans today have. They were built on the same DNA as us, but obviously had to change to the conditions of Thalix. They had darker skin, larger noses, bigger feet, darker hair, and in general, thicker skin. They were great swimmers as well, since early Thalix was plentiful of rivers and oceans, and so in general, they had really good body and they had good genetics to keep them alive during the cold winter nights. Now, I think it's a good time for us to get a better understanding on how intelligent these people were. Well, in all honesty, they were twice as progressed in technology than we are now than they were back then. Also, they had spacecrafts for commuting between planets and galaxies, they had telecommunications to speak to their allies from different places in the universe, and so much more that we don't even know existed right now. Now, we also need to understand the fact that being so intelligent in such a very vast and lonely place can cause many difficulties. On Earth today, we face the same problems with the possibility of nuclear warfare, war by itself, and other massive issues that we have because of the technology and power we use. You see, Thalix eventually reached the highest point of its engineering amazingness and figured out how using power to control people wasn't the best idea. This eventually led to their utmost demise and the creation of humans on Earth, from what I believe. Here's what I believe happened. As years passed on Thalix, warfare and threatening and danger were becoming way more apparent in their lives. Thalix was being destroyed by all the natural destruction from radiation, pollution, and loss of resources that was being consumed by the constant warfare. Eventually, I believe the Hyneos had to make an agreement to leave Mars before it just completely destroyed itself on its own. Now, you see, this is where I believe the story gets a little bit more interesting. As their final solution, they chose to evacuate Thalix as soon as possible and to find a new place to settle and reclaim their own humanity by themselves. Now, if they only just settled on Earth, which is the next second best habitable planet that they have in their solar system, we wouldn't be here today, or at least be the same as we think we would be. I think what happened was as they were leaving their planet, they were struck either by a meteor shower or something devastating happened to their ship and caused it to blow up. The good part about this is that what I believe is that all the remnants of their bacteria and their organisms and DNA landed back on Earth and were beginning to thrive with the volcanic embers and all the volcanic heat and liveliness that eventually created the human beings that we evolved into as we progressed into life. In my conclusion, I believe there are many different ways for there to be life beginning on Earth that could have possibly happened in the past that we just didn't know about because we didn't exist back then. Though the idea of a super intelligent species that wiped themselves out and then somehow landed on Earth that didn't grow the way they should is highly unlikely, I feel that anything is a possibility in space. I think what's most ironic about this is that today, where we see Mars becoming a planet that might be thrivable again for human life, it's ironic to think that once humans did live there, and after years of devastation and destruction, it's now becoming alive again as a whole planet, and we're looking for another place to live. I don't know, maybe this just shows us how destructive and careless we are as human beings, or as people by ourselves, and maybe we're not trusted to create the technology to go on and discover new things in space. But you know, whatever honestly happens, I'm just glad we can kind of thank the fictional characters of Thalix and their species, Hynios, for making it possible for us to even live here now, I guess, and giving us my theory of possibility to go back and live on Mars or Thalix once again. And with that, I will be signing off. Have a great night, everyone, and remember, adventures out there. Yeah.